Welcome to ShovelTalk, a podcast for economic developers. From your friends at the Golden Shovel Agency.
Hello and welcome to ShovelTalk. I am Darren Barley, and I had such a good time hosting last episode that I think I'm going to try doing it again.
Wait. Get out of here. We have heard enough. You lead way too many meetings. Get out of here, Darren. All right. Nice try, though. Besides, we have to have Amanda be introduced right away because for many of you who have been listening, she has started her digital nomadic lifestyle and has left the US. She has left the building people, and we are very excited to follow her journey and see where in the world is Amanda. So, can you give us 3 hints about where you are?
Okay, I think I can. So I've been waking up to an interesting sound in the morning. Every morning I've been waking up to a rooster. So that's clue number 1. There is a rooster. And actually it's not just been in the morning. It's been crowing all day. So I don't know if roosters generally work that way. I thought it was just in the morning, but it's been it's been fun.
It's your new roommate.
It is, yeah. My new roommate. Another clue is I have had a pretty good margarita or 2 where I am. And clue number 3, over the weekend, I took a sunset hike in the desert, which was actually pretty beautiful. There's your 3 clues: desert, margaritas, and roosters.
Awesome.
What a combination.
So, yeah, for all of you listeners who are amateur sleuths, go to the Golden Shovel Facebook page and look for Amanda's photos. Feel free to chime in and guess where in the world is Amanda. All right, everyone, we have very exciting guests for you today. Aniki Allen, who is a youngpreneur out of the Twin Cities. He started his business at the ripe old age of 8 years old, with the help of his mother, Marsha, who is also an entrepreneur. This family has a lot to teach all of us about what it means to create opportunity, to follow your dreams, no matter how old you are. And I believe that you'll be very inspired by their story.
We are so excited to have Aniki and Marsha here today with Ice Cream Bowties. So Aniki, can you tell us about your business, Ice Cream Bowties?
Ice cream Bowties was a thing me and my mom started, and I just started it when I was 8. Just through playing and my creativity, I created this idea, and from there, I wanted to make money. So we branched out both of those ideas and just created a business.
That's awesome. The fact that you were playing and you came up with a business idea would have been cool at any age, but at 8, that's definitely unique. Can you tell us what was it that you were making that was so interesting that you thought it could be a product?
I made Lego bow ties, or brick bow ties.
Nice. And they held their shape even when you wore them?
Yes.
That's awesome. I know we saw a couple of them on a podcast. Obviously, people don't have the benefit of that, but I saw a really cool looking one. I think it had Joker on the front. Do a lot of your bow ties have characters on the front of them?
No, those, not all the time. It's mostly custom, but right now we're in the middle of remarketing.
So what inspired you to become an entrepreneur? Because that's a pretty big jump, to go from creating it for fun to wanting to venture into the business world.
Mainly just making money for a young age and just helping people. That's the reason why I wanted to become an entrepreneur.
So how did your mom help you turn your idea of these bow ties into a reality?
She posts one of my bow ties on Facebook, and people just start liking it and saying, is it a real business or can you buy it? Because people was very interested, and my mom was like, no. But a couple of days later, we just started making them and found a piece a year later and branched out and made ice cream bow ties.
And Marsha, did you want to add anything about the process there of helping your son become an entrepreneur at such a young age? I mean, that's just amazing. So tell us about your thought process behind that and what it was like for you helping your son with this project.
Aniki is an only child, and for long periods of time, it would be really hard to have him sit still. We got him introduced into Legos at a very young age, and as time progressed, he just became really good at it. And he started playing with Legos a lot during his 7-8-year-old stage as a young kid, and he created this bow tie. Dressing well is a form of good manners, right? Tom Ford says that. And my parents always made sure that we had to look presentable, we had to look nice. And through the process of him playing and being creative with Lego, he made this bow tie. And I didn't really think of it as of anything. And then one day he was just like, Mom, this could work. He was very used to wearing bow ties already. And we found a string and we kind of just looped it and it worked. And like he said, it wasn't until he was 9, it wasn't until a year later, he found that missing piece that kind of put everything together. And I did post it on Facebook. We had got a lot of likes and people started inboxing and saying, hey, how can I make one? This is so cool. And my kid would love this. And through the process, kind of just researching and the journey of an entrepreneur, that's how Ice Cream Bow Ties came about 4 years ago.
And you yourself are a business owner as well, correct?
Yes, I am super blessed to say that I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I make my own schedule. I wake up, I'm able to travel. I'm able to do a lot of things that I want to do. But I do want to definitely pay homage to my grandparents, my mother, my grandmother, definitely my, late grandmother, Dia, was a huge entrepreneur and a businesswoman. And a lot of what I've learned and a lot of what's instilled in me comes from her, and also my father, who was a entrepreneur himself. And through the generations, I've been able to see that when you have your own and when you are a business person, you're able to establish and really create your own life at your own pace. And so I wanted my son to be able to grow up having that same, the privilege of that. And it's a great journey. We've been blessed, we've been really blessed. But I am a full-time entrepreneur and love helping small businesses, love connecting folks, love just giving ideas, and thinking out of the box is super important.
So it's really a legacy that Aniki has come into.
Yes.
So Aniki, tell us kind of what your journey was like when you first started this. I mean, you got it out on Facebook, and you really thought this could happen, and you had the help of your mom. Tell us about what came next. What was what was your journey like creating this business?
My journey was basically a lot of trial and error, a lot of just waking up, going places I didn't want to go, doing things I didn't want to do. But when I really look at the past and look at all of it, I am very grateful for pushing me through all of it.
So what was one of those things you didn't want to do? I have to ask.
Taking pictures. I love pictures, but they're just taking too much. I get a little antsy sometimes because I'm like, take this, take this, take this. But I'm very used to it now.
I have a 7-year-old nephew and I try to get him to take pictures and he does not like it either. So I get it.
Just to kind of add on to that, the journey it's never ending, right? My son and I are in this journey together, but individually we are within our own journey. And I'm just super proud of him because there are a lot of days where he has to do things that he doesn't want to do, where he may want to hang out with friends and he's, we're getting up early to go to an event or staying up late when he's kind of missing his bedtime, and we're mingling with fashion industry people in the cities, and it's fun, but at the same time, he does have sacrificed a lot. But overall, I'm just super grateful that he has this ability and the mindfulness to know that everything that he's learning now is definitely just going to help him as he gets older.
It's interesting because you talk about the legacy of your family and how incredibly blessed you were to have those mentors. You know, you were born into a mentorship situation, you know, with your grandma and with your dad, for example, and now obviously you've been able to mentor your son. But now I think it's so amazing, and I'd love for you to tell everybody about it, how the two of you are now mentoring other young kids who are interested in becoming entrepreneurs through your Youngpreneur program. Could you talk about that?
Youngpreneur Workshop is a workshop that I created to teach kids how their creativity can lead to starting their own business.
It's
awesome.
It's that simple. Through his work and through his play and through his creativity, we started a bow tie business. And Ice Cream Bow Ties has a social enterprise tagged along to, of course, for a profit too. But one of our mission that we push a lot is entrepreneurship and youth entrepreneurship specifically, because this business was created by a young person. And a few years ago, through the process of just kind of like meeting people, he was like, Mom, you know, I wonder if I can like teach kids this. I wonder if kids would love, I mean, I'm sure kids would love to, you know, start their own business. And together we implemented through trial and error the Youngpreneur Workshop with Aniki Allen. We've been very successful where we were able to teach young children in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin. We've held a few different workshops throughout the cities, and we just finished our contract with the city of St. Paul through ESNDC, who's our fiscal sponsor on the east side, and been able to really touch and inspire young and old and allow these children and let them know that like their creativity can lead to the start of their own business.
So Aniki, can you tell us what, if a kid signed up for your workshop, what could they expect? What would they be doing in your workshop?
What they'll be doing, first, greet all the kids, saying hello, how was your day? Because my mom always taught me you should always look the person in their eyes and shake them very good so they can feel welcome. And after that, I'll just basically talk about, so everybody, I would like for you to say your names, and after that, talk about myself, how I created my business. Like, hi, my name's Aniki Allen. I created my business when I was 8 and 9. I've been doing it for a long time now. We're on our 4th year, and through all this, it's been a lot of trial and error, but I've been succeeding with my lovely mother, and we've been doing this, and it's been very great. And then after that, I'll tell the kids, oh, here's a paper and a pencil. You think of 3 things you really like to do, or things that just motivate you, or things you like to see and other people see that you really like to do. And they write it down, and after that, they'll come up at the front, and then I'll say their name, and they'll show it to everybody like this. And the reason why I do that, so the kids can not be afraid. I want them to like be welcomed and let them experience how it feels to be coming up to talk to people, not only grown-ups, but their own peers. And then after that, we'll say, okay, so we already talked about what you want to do. You already said the names and stuff like that. Let's make a logo for it, just if you want to make it official. So the kids will make a logo, and they'll come back up, present themselves, present their business and the name that they made. And after that, make a bow tie and welcome them, and they'll leave.
That's amazing. And I love how you have them come up and share their ideas, because I mean, even adults don't share their ideas because of that fear of, am I going to feel rejection? You know, are my ideas not going to be good enough, or are they not going to like them? And that's amazing that you work with them on gaining that confidence and showing them that you don't need to be afraid.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just share a little bit more in details. The Youngpreneur Workshop is a free event that we host quarterly, and it is open to any and all children and all young people. What we do in the workshop is we provide them with a bow tie that they can create at the end that they keep. But most importantly, we want the young people to let their creative juices flow. A lot of times we ask them, you know, what are you really good at? If you can do anything in the world, what would it be? Or, you know, what do your friends tell you that you're really good at? And then we have them they write down all these things that they're really good at, whether it's cooking, reading, basketball, drawing, and then we have them write it down. And then we have a discussion session where they talk a little bit about that amongst themselves. And then out of all those ideas, they pick one. But realistically, if you could create a business, what would it be? And then they create a business, and then they create a logo, and then they present it. So once they leave the workshop, they have an idea, and they also have a business logo that they can certainly implement. And then the very end, which is the fun part for a lot of the young people, is being able to decorate and design their own brick bow tie that we give to them.
No, that's fantastic. It sounds like it's an opportunity for them to learn, but also to be empowered to go forward with their ideas. Have there been any businesses that have come out of these Youngpreneur workshops?
Yes, we have. Aniki, do you want to talk about Dawson and Grace?
They came to the first event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. After that, a couple of years later, they came up here. Grace, she made rocks, and she sold rocks that said like quotes that she made, and like smile every day or something. And the other person, Delson, he sold egg rolls and food, and people really loved all of that at the pop-up fair. People loved all the kids' ideas. People loved everything that they did. And after that, they came again to the recent pop-up fair, and again they sold Grace rocks with
inspirational. Yeah, Grace is like 8, 9, and she started her own business. Her business is called The Little Piece of Grace, and she has inspirational rocks, and she just writes affirmations on her rocks, and that was her business, or that is her business.
That's a perfect name for that business.
It is. It matched her perfectly.
So it has to be fun seeing other people come to the workshops and participate in the pop-up fairs like that, and really get to celebrate success with them. Aniki, as you've been doing that, do you have any fun stories you can share about, working with your peers and helping them with their business ideas?
There's so many great stories, but one of the stories I remember, I was at a pop-up fair, and somebody came up to me and said, could I get an autograph? And nice. I was surprised because I was like, oh, for real? And then he just walked out excited. And I was really shocked by it. A kid want my autograph.
So do you have any upcoming events that you want to tell our listeners about?
In the future, more virtual workshops because, COVID, we still got a social distance. But mainly, I still want to reach out to kids and adults, too, if they want to come for virtual workshops. So, yeah, that's mainly what all we're doing right now.
Okay. Are any scheduled right now or not yet?
Not yet, but we'll surely let people know.
So people can, I'm assuming, check your website for the upcoming ones. Do you want to tell everyone what your website is?
Yes, www.icecreambowties.com.
So tell us why it's important to support young and aspiring entrepreneurs.
Mostly because I seen when I was upcoming and when I was just starting my business and going to all these places and setting up shops, there was older people that was coming up to me and thanking me like, wow, you inspired me because you're so young and you're doing this. I was like, that's amazing. So it's important because youngpreneurs and the youth itself are the next upcoming people. And I really think it's important that since we're the next upcoming and we're going to be adults one day, we're going to have generations and generations. I feel like we should be the people or the children or youth that push out positivity and not negativity and not everything that's bad and that's not good for the earth or anything like that. I just really hope that we push more youngpreneurs and more kids of business. It can be anything, selling rocks, selling food, just being creative like that. So that's why I think youngpreneurs are the new wave and anybody can do it. So it don't matter how old or young you is, you can be a youngpreneur.
And I think that what you're doing that's so powerful is it comes down to representation, because when young people see what you do, now all of a sudden their eyes are opened to the possibility for themselves. And so when you talk about someone coming up and asking for your autograph, I could see that experience being a little weird, a little unexpected. But at the same time, it's also perfectly natural because they're seeing you as someone that's an example of what's possible for them and maybe just the whole generation. And I think that's really inspiring and powerful. And I love what you said about spreading positivity, because I'll tell you, us old folks, we can get cynical and jaded. Life sometimes has knocked us down one too many times and we can be negative. And I really appreciate your voice of positivity. And I ask you to keep spreading that message, because we need to learn from you just as much as your generation needs to learn from us.
And I think you can apply that to the creativity piece too. You know, I think sometimes we as adults lose a little bit of our creative flair sometimes. And, you know, the fact that, you know, those youngpreneurs, the creativity that comes out of young people is just amazing. And so I think the more we can support that, the better. So definitely creativity and positivity.
I would really like to know, how can this be replicated? How can we inspire youngpreneurs in other communities throughout the country?
You can inspire them by seeing what they're trying to do, support them by buying their stuff, support them by just going to see them, like if at events, of course, or supporting them from online, and just any type of way that you feel like. If they have like a donation, support them by that. If they have like, they're trying to spread a message to help like their family member, support them like that. There's so many ways to support these new upcoming youngpreneurs. That's a very good question.
Yeah. And Marsha, I know that you said that you've been working obviously with community leaders locally. A lot of people who listen to this podcast are community leaders. You know, they are the influencers. They are ones who can make events happen and regularly do. If anyone's listening to this and they think, hey, this is a great idea, I'd love to have one of these workshops in my community, would you both be open to doing virtual workshops outside of Minnesota and Wisconsin?
Oh, for sure. You know, it's just a matter of planning, because we have a set of materials that we actually send out to them. You know, it's just a matter of making sure that we have enough materials and scheduling and everything. And we are always open to that. And just to kind of piggyback what Aniki is saying too, is young people and kids and our children sometimes often felt that like they aren't heard. And so to create this idea or to create this business, like we're told as young people that, you know, you have to be an adult to create change. And that's not necessarily true. And Aniki is a great example of that you don't have to be this young adult. You don't have to have a lot of money, and you don't have to be famous to create this positive change. And so I think it's just a matter of implementing and having these resources and having these workshops accessibly available to all children. And then it gets the mind and the creativity flowing, and you just don't know where it could lead to. Maybe having, if you're a small business owner, offering like a day for a young person to come in and sit at your shop or come shadow you, or offering free opportunities. It gets the children, one, staying out the streets. It gets them to think of their future. It helps them to hold themselves accountable, their role in society and who they are and how they want to be looked at, especially communities of color where they may not necessarily have the best living situation, or they may not have access to all the resource, or they may not have both parents in home because they're working a lot. These are communities that are affected most when it comes down to poverty levels. So if we can come together, or, you know, if you are in a position, if you are a business owner, start reaching out to the kids in the neighborhood.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So Aniki, you know, life can't be all school and business. What do you do for fun? Do in your free time?
I play basketball with my friends sometimes. Play the games, draw, paint, watch TV, sleeping.
Same here.
We have talked about a lot of things today. We have talked about your incredible business, the idea that you had and how it got started, your process. We've also talked about inspiring other young people to start their business and how powerful that can be on an individual level and for entire communities. Is there anything that you felt like you really wanted to elaborate more on and didn't have the chance to do?
I feel like I have been answered. You can ask my mom. I don't think I have any, but thank you though for asking me.
In all the work that I do, I always have to be very conscious in how I say things and how I do things. And as a person of color, as a woman of color, as among women myself, I understand that myself and my son, who is a biracial child, is not going to always have the opportunities in America. That's just the reality of things. And so one thing that I've always shared with Aniki is when you don't get these opportunities, you create them. And that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what we're doing is we're using his power and we're his platform to create these opportunities for, again, those that may not have the opportunities. And so our social enterprise is very much heavily focused on communities of color that do not have these opportunities. And what we want others to know and understand is anything and everything is very possible. Again, we live in America. We understand what's going on in the world right now. And, we have to sometimes break these barriers by ourselves. And once that person breaks through it, if we create these opportunities, then everyone can come with us. And then there's an understanding of, love and respect and the solidarity of how things work. So very much of what Ice Cream Bowties is and how I've raised my son is to just live truthfully to who you are, and that, when you don't get these opportunities, you create them. So a big part of what we do has a lot with social and racial justice.
That's a good message. Create your opportunities.
In our last podcast, we actually started a game, and I wanted to see if you would participate in it. We're calling it, for now, for lack of a better name, the lightning question game. And so I have 7 questions, and they're kind of like fun, get to know you type of questions. We'd have Darren put a minute on the clock, and you would answer the 7 questions as fast as you can. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds great.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Darren, do you have a timer ready?
All right, go ahead.
Okay, what's the last book you read?
The last book, probably Rebound.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be, of course, an entrepreneur and just more helping people.
Who's your favorite superhero and why?
Probably Miles Morales, because he looks like me, and he just is Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. He just swing around. That's cool.
Awesome answer. What superpower would you want and why?
Teleportation, because just getting around be faster. Because you just go here, anywhere you want.
If you could live anywhere in the world for a year, where would you live?
Paris.
If you could have a meal with anyone in history, who would it be with?
That's hard. I'll probably just say Barack Obama.
Awesome, Aniki. Well, thank you for participating in our game there. And I am with you on the teleportation. I think I would choose the same one. So that was awesome. Well, Aniki and Marsha, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It's been absolutely inspirational to hear about your story, about your business, and how you've started it and your journey. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And I know it's going to inspire a lot of people out there that listen to this. So thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a nice day.
Thank you guys so much for just taking an opportunity to really share, my son's story and his journey and our journey together. And through this, we just really want to inspire and motivate people, again, to create their own opportunities. It's been great. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing podcast episode. Thank you for joining us as we listen to Aniki and his mom, Marsha, and learned all about ice cream bow ties. Be sure to follow Ice Cream Bow Ties on social media. You can find them through the website at www.icecreambowties.com. And in other news, Golden Shovel has a YouTube channel now, and we are actually putting the podcast on the YouTube channel. So we would love it if you would go over to YouTube and type in Golden Shovel Agency and follow us there. Thanks.